that time once again for Just Winging It.
It's that time.
Yep. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. How you doing, Keegan?
Doing pretty good. How about yourself, man?
Not too bad. Not too bad. Had a little like week off or so from YouTubing it, but yep. A little bit of work. Put a little work in. We got some gifts, wrapped some gifts and stuff like that. How about yourself?
Just trying to work as much as I can over the holidays, and then we get Christmas next week, and then game on the 23rd, so that'll be fun too. So
yeah, we have one tomorrow too, I do believe.
We do. Like 4 games in the next like 5 days or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, crazy games. I think it's because we took. I think there was a point like a couple of weeks ago or so where we only had like one game in like a week or.
Yeah, it was insane. Now it's like ramping back up. It's like, of course you start doing this to the guys.
It's like Slinky. It's like 1-2 games and then 5 games in like
it's 4 games in the next.
And freaking all of a sudden back to like 2 games in a week, and you're like, can you be consistent? Just be a little consistent.
4 games in the next 6 days. Like, it's insane.
That's crazy.
Like they play Montreal tomorrow, and then they play Montreal away at Montreal, and then they play the Blues at home, which I'm going to that game. So,
oh, you going to that game? Cool.
Yeah, the 23rd.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I was going to come out there, but my plans have changed a little bit, so I'm not going to be able to come out there. I really wanted to because I really wanted to go to a game, but yeah, maybe next year. Maybe
always next year.
Maybe there'll be a better season next year. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
But let's get on to our topics. So we're gonna go back a few. We're gonna go back a few because we took a week off. We're gonna have a few more topics. So
good.
Yeah. So the Buffalo recap and the losing streak that we had that ended. What do you think about that? Like, it was nice. It was nice to see a kind of.
It was nice to see that win. Obviously things didn't go as planned. Kind of in the first period, and then they made some adjustments in the second to get them to the to the overtime, and then obviously the shootout where they eventually won. So it was nice to get that win, especially against a Buffalo team that's really been struggling. They're on their 11th loss right now after our loss, so they're massively struggling. So yeah, it was good to get that win. It felt kind of like a little bit of a jolt that we needed, but fortunately other things had plans. So but I thought it was a good win. A lot of the key guys contributed, a lot of the younger guys. So you saw DeBrincat contribute, Raymond contribute, Sider really contribute. Cop too, somehow with 2 goals. Like, that never happened. like he's not contributed at all since last year, and then this year he got really pretty lucky at the beginning of the season, and like all of a sudden just starts showing up. Like where has this been all year?
And of course, we'll talk about him later. But the main guy that won the game for him,
Kosa got called up, and they I wanted to kind of like skim over it to see if we could get it to the end. But Sebastian Kosa, man, they pulled Husso for once, actually, and Lalonde actually put him in for once. So I thought that was he's the reason we won that game. I mean, granted, he had a couple weird. I mean, those 2 goals that went in. I mean, one was just a weird bounce. The other really wasn't his fault. But I think overall he played a really solid game, and I mean, he won us that game in the shootout 100%. Like you could just tell. Like, even Larkin said something where it's like he was a jolt to the locker room, which, I mean, maybe want to keep him up, but
yeah, we'll see. And we'll talk about it later. But let's move on to the other game that we had after that one. And you call it the one-man show, and I remember why you call it the one-man show.
That was an abysmal game. That was probably the worst game I've seen them play all year.
Yeah.
Scott Lawton, dude has never, pretty much all his goals for his career have been against the Wings, and he scores 4 goals. That was embarrassing. It wasn't even on Talbot. It was just the result of the offense not showing up and the defense not showing up either. And it was rough. like I said, that was one of the worst games I've seen them play all year, and it was not fun watching. It was, and somehow, like I think I said before the game, I'm like, I think someone random's gonna score like a Sherratt or a Petrie, and of course Sherratt scores the only goal.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that was a rough game. I only remember part of it. All I know is that when he scored his hat trick, that's when they said, "Oh, it looks like it's Lawton against the Wings," and I was like, "Are you kidding me? Me got one guy's beating us."
Yeah, and then he scores the fourth. I'm like, okay, like you pulled the goalie, like that was a bad coach. Like you should have just kept him in at that point. Like what are you gonna get out of pulling the goalie again? Like,
I mean, if you're down one, you pull the goalie. If you're down two, you could probably pull the goalie again, and then that's it. Like after that, you're
like pulling it a second time. Like, okay, dude, like get out of here.
Not when you're down 3-1.
Exactly. That was such a dumb.
Let it go. Let it go.
That was such a dumb move, but it is what it is. Like you can't really control it, but it was definitely one of those decisions. I'm like, dude, like you gotta be like that. Just shows how bad our coaching has been this whole year. I mean, great.
I think it's not only just shows how bad the coaching is, it's how desperate they are to do anything to make it look like they're trying.
Yeah, well, it's not even that too. It's you've lost the room too. Like no matter how much you win a game to try and save your job, they're not motivated. They don't care about the coach. They don't care to like win games for you. Like that's another thing. It's like these guys aren't motivated to play under Lalonde, and like it's been very apparent that they don't like him. Like there was a video last night where they're reading the lineups, and Kopp was just he was just not into it. He like you can just tell he lost the room. He lost a lot of the main guys that are there long term. So
yeah, and we'll get more into that later in our little in one of our topics here.
Exactly.
But, yeah. So the next game we played and you're right, gritty win against Toronto. Played well.
That game was probably one of the better games I've seen them play. That's probably one of the best games I played because they didn't dump and chase the whole game. They didn't.
No.
I saw them dump and chase like once or twice that whole entire game, and it was a valid like dump and chase because it's like they were trying to just change at that point. Yeah. But they played physical from the puck drop, and they played a full 60 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
And it showed in the defensive zone, it showed up in the offensive zone, it showed up on our power play. Like everything was going right that game. And somehow by the miracle of God, Jeff Petrie had 2 goals that game. One guy you would never expect to ever do anything for this team besides be a liability. He actually did something. AKA scored 2 goals and was on a hat trick watch as a defenseman. What the fuck? Like that was like this can't be real. This is like the biggest joke.
I think they changed one of his goals.
They did change it eventually, but
okay. I was gonna say because I don't see him with 2 goals. I'm like maybe I'm looking at the wrong game.
That game technically he was on hat trick watch. And I think if he was on a hat trick watch, I don't think they would. If he had gotten the hat trick, I don't think they would have taken that away from him.
They probably wouldn't have.
Yeah,
considering he probably will never do it
that
again.
Was at that point you're just rooting for the memes at that point where it's like I want this guy to score for the sake of I want this guy to get the hat trick because like
Toronto, you just got beat by
yeah, he got beat by fucking Jeff Petrie. Like, he's a fucking old head. Like dude does not know like it is anything but reliable, and he does that. So I thought that was extremely hilarious. But other than that, it was a really good win. It was a game I actually really enjoyed watching personally, and obviously Lucas Raymond, empty netter too. That definitely helps too. Like he's been really great. So same with DeBrincat. Patrick Kane finally got off the points.
Schneid.
Yeah, like he I can't think of the word. Drought. He got off the point drought, got a really nice assist on the cider goal. So really happy for him in that sense because like like a guy like him, he's a competitor. He wants to win. He wants to be he wants to be a part of the solution, not the problem, and I think he knew that. So, which leads into another part of the game, or one of the other games. But yeah, solid win. I think definitely a game that is a building block, in my opinion, at least, like for what we need from this team. So
Yeah.
it
was definitely a good game. A very, very good game. Very.
It was enjoyable to watch. They played a full 60 minutes of hockey, which
if they can play hockey like that the rest of the way, I'd be very like it would be very enjoyable to watch hockey. It's not something where like, you know, by the time they hit the third period, they're being outshot by almost 20, and you're sitting back and going, are they going to do anything? Like, what are they going to shoot the puck? Are they going to are they?
They're actually doing something, and like I don't think it's even on coaching at that point. I think that's just like them doing it out by themselves at this point. Because I mean, like I said, I think Lalonde lost the room. Unfortunately, I don't think he has control of what happens anymore. So I think there's not much he can do in that situation anyway. But I mean, yeah, I personally think this game is a good shift in the right direction.
I think when they're winning, I think it's going to be in spite of him and not because of him.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. And then we move on to the game that happened. I do believe it was last night.
Last night?
Yep. Well, I'm getting old.
Tough win against the Flyers. Did not start off great with that game. Not even a minute in, got scored on. So, yep. I mean, granted, Line was back from injury, so that happens. Yeah. Getting the rust off. I love Lion. He's been really great for us. So, benefit of the doubt on that one. He's been out with injury, so really bounced back after that. Really great win. Same with that. Like they had a couple, they did a little bit more dumping and chasing than I'd like, but they were a lot more physical. They did. Mm-hmm. Their power play looked abysmal for a little bit, but had shades of good. And then Guy mentioned in the previous game, Patrick Kane, goal and an assist to the birthday boy, DeBrincat last night. So that was kind of cool to see.
Yep.
That Kane DeBrincat chemistry kind of showing again. And then Patrick Kane with a nice goal to end his goal streak drought at that point too. So he had 2 points on the night last night. So he was a big reason why we won that game.
And maybe he's getting into a groove. Like like I said, I'm not a Patrick Kane fan. I haven't been. Maybe it's just because it's I'm just a Blackhawks biased. Like or a Red Wing biased of Blackhawks. I just But then again, we did have Chelio, so I can't be mad at that. But,
yeah.
He's got to prove again to me from that 7-game stretch from last year. That'll always be a niche.
But I think he's playing with a hunger right now. He's playing with a pissed off attitude, and I may be old, but I still got a little bit of it in me, and he definitely showed it last night. Some mistakes were made. Petrie, going back to Petrie form, unfortunately. But
you only get one version of Petrie.
Yeah, you only get one version of Petrie. You either get by the miracle of God that somehow he's good, or you get why is he on this team? But no, a lot of guys have been showing up as of late. Obviously, it was nice to get that win against the Flyers, especially what they did to us last year in the sense of they ruined our playoff dreams. So it was nice to kind of. It was nice to get that. Like that will always be engraved to me that Philly pulled the goalie to get the Capitals to the playoffs, and that ruined our playoffs. So it's nice to beat them and kind of give them a little middle finger, like, hey, you did this to us. We're gonna kind of pay you back a little bit, and especially for the last game too. It's not easy for the players to kind of be like, hey, like we just got our asses handed us to one guy in a game. And granted, they haven't won in Philly in like 10 years. It's been 10 years since they won that building.
Yeah.
But
it's tough.
It's tough. It's sometimes it's tough like that. But it was a great win. I'm glad we pissed off Torts.
Yes, we
and
did.
It was a good win in the sense of 2 games in a row. That builds a little bit of something. And with the East, how it is, with the Rangers kind of losing stock on their playoff hopes, you get your 4 points out of the playoff spot right now. So there's.
And the funny thing is, we we're coming up on Montreal in back-to-back games. So
Yeah.
Even though in points we're not far off Montreal, we have a far better roster, and we should be able to beat them.
But
so if we can come, I always say we should.
Yeah.
I mean, we will.
I will say Montreal as of late, Patrick Laine, man, he's had a resurgence in Montreal with his. I mean, granted, all of his goals are on the power play, but Duke can still snipe the puck, and I mean, you can't be. I mean, you got to be happy for the guy. Like, I mean, coming from what he battled with mentally last year, and of course all the injuries he dealt with. I mean, it's nice to see a guy like that succeed in the sense of he finally found a place that really wants him and a place that really wants he wants to be too, and the fans embrace that. So, I mean, granted, we're talking about it right now, but I mean, props to him. You know, obviously, it takes a lot to come back from a lot of injuries, and especially mental demons too. So I'm glad that he's been having a lot of success with them too. So
yeah, that's true. Absolutely.
But Montreal, I mean, they're still kind of one of those teams that, you know, still rebuilding, still kind of figuring things out. A lot of young guys, but honestly, the key to beat them is keep them off the power play and just keep getting shots. Wings have gotten a lot of shots on net too, which is very rare. They're actually shooting the puck. I think last night on the broadcast, they were talking to Eisman, and they're like, "Oh, we're actually shooting the puck." I'm like, you don't think we're actually like, hey, when we shoot the puck, good things happen. So maybe you should do it a little bit more often.
Yeah, and you don't need to pass to find the perfect shot. Like sometimes it's never going to be there because the team that you're playing against is just that good on defense. Sometimes you just got to take a shot.
Exactly. And somehow our defense, granted, we lost Edvinson last night, but he should be back. I mean, a couple days rest.
I didn't realize the hit that
it was an upper body, so it's probably like jaw or something like that. So they're just kind of being precautious about it. He might have to wear a cage or something like that. But he's a stud. Like he's not out for a long periods of time, but he's been noticeable in our wins too of like, you know, how he moves the puck, how he you know, how he looks for plays. Like he complements Sider really well, and you know, you found that top pairing, which definitely helps for the long-term future.
So. That's true. I just was referring to a lot of people think it was a penalty. It was a high elbow.
Yeah. And I'd agree with that. It was a high hit, but I mean, you always miss. I mean, every ref isn't perfect. Well, no shit, because they're blind, but I mean.
Yeah, no, I get you. Andy Van Helleman.
Yeah.
Do you remember that guy?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Not my favorite ref by no
means.
So moving on to a topic that I hate. I won't use the word hate, but dislike. But I just can't stand it. He just does it every single game. The dude cannot keep a line together.
You could talk for a little bit with this.
Okay. So it seems like what's happening is Lalonde is trying to juggle line. It seems like he's trying to fix our issue every game. And the problem with that is the fact that if you put guys together and you build chemistry with them, things work out. They don't work out. They may not work out the first game you put them together. They may not even work out the second game. They may still win or lose, but they may not work out. That doesn't mean you have to fix it because it may not be broke. It's just they got to build chemistry. It takes time for players to adapt to each other's style of skating, shooting, passing. You got to adapt to that. If you constantly change lines, they never get familiar with each other. They know each other because they both play on the same team. They just don't get used to each other. The amount of times that I played, even in like rec hockey and stuff like that, where we've never juggled lines. We keep three guys together and they stay together. And over the course of the season, you get better and you get better because you get to know each other. The problem with Lalonde is it just seems like he is trying to fix the wings per game. And you can't do that. It's
It's not possible. It's not fit. You can't do it, unfortunately.
You can't. Like I saw a few times where he kept the lines together for like 2 or 3 games in a row, and they kind of got some harmony and they win, or they did well. And then he's like, no, we didn't win. Let's and then he just went back to switching. Now, granted, when players get injured, you do got to kind of swap the lines.
Exactly.
You have to do that. But when they come back from injury, you got to put them right back to with the same players they had before, because they're going to still remember those other guys.
Yeah.
You have to do that. But he doesn't. He's got to stop juggling the line so damn. I mean, this dude needs to be in freaking the circus. He juggles so much.
I will agree with that. It's been tough kind of watching that, in the sense of like that happened last year, especially during the towards the end, especially during the 7-game losing streak. He constantly switched the lines. Like you got it. Like, granted, it wasn't working at the time, but at least you're keeping the lines consistent. But the one line that I hated he switched out was the Casper, Berggren, and Tarasenko line. That line is fast. They know where they are. Obviously, you have the chemistry between Berggren and Casper, but Tarasenko, with his sniping, he's still a premier. He was a franchise guy for a reason for St. Louis for a long time. Granted, he's not what he was, but he's more of in a mentor role right now, helping guys like Berggren and Casper kind of lean more into the NHL, but also kind of teach them stuff like, oh, hey, this is how you should shoot, or this is how you should play make.
Yep.
I forgot what game it was. I think we lost that game, but it was Casper and Berggren. Their passing skills, just their vision. They're fast too. They went into the zone. They pass, got it right to Tarasenko. Tarasenko sniped it, and it was a goal. And that line was buzzing that whole night, and you could just see it working its magic, not only like offensively, but defensively. Casper's really fast. He's very responsible defensively. He will back check his heart out because he's fast enough to do it. And granted, I think it's more of a system thing, in the sense of, guys wanting to back check and stuff. I don't think you should force that on a player if that's not their game per se, but you should, for some guys where it is their game that are really good at it, let them do it, but they've been really good back checking. They've been really good offensively. I think their playmaking is something that we need as a younger team. And unfortunately, we've juggled lines. We've juggled between, I think our first pairing's been like Kane, Larkin, Raymond, and that's been DeBrincat, Larkin, Raymond, and then it's been DeBrincat, Larkin, Kane. Like they keep switching it. And then we had Rasmussen on the first pairing, which that didn't work too bad either. I kind of like that. And then right now I think it's Tarasenko, Larkin, and Raymond. So that's been okay. But I mean, obviously,
it's just the juggling. I mean, like I said, you know the players on your team, but when you get out there, it's the feel you get for them. Like when I skate, like if I'm always a left winger. I never played center. I suck at face-offs.
You left-handed or right-handed?
I am left-handed.
Okay, I'm right-handed, so the left hand I prefer just because I can just rip shots.
Yeah, I am. I tend to be the left winger, and when I'm down, I know the guy that I skate with is going to be in the middle of the ice. I know he's going to be in the slot, so I don't even have to look at him. I can just chip it over out of the corner of my eye, and he'll be there to receive the puck.
Exactly.
But if I'm not on a line with the guy, I can't be confident he's going to be there. So I'm going to take either that second, or I'm going to be cutting around the back of the net to see who's available for me to pass to, because I can't guarantee that the guy that I'm newly with is going to be where I need him to be.
Exactly.
There's just
that chemistry. Like
the chemistry changes angles. It changes your confidence in the other teammates being there to do their job. That's the difference.
I will say this one thing. Thank God they have not really split up Raymond and Larkin, because those two complement each other so much, and in a good way, because they've pretty much played for Raymond's whole career and for part of Larkin for the last 4 years. He's played with primarily Raymond, and it's been Raymond and Larkin, and I mean, they complement each other as players a lot too, because Raymond's more of a sniper in that sense, and then Larkin's the setup guy, you know. But
yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's a good pairing. I like it. I mean, it's future. It's a future.
yeah, but
I can't wait.
Stop juggling lines.
Just stop juggling the lines.
Please stop, for the love of God.
Get them set, and just leave it.
Yeah, if something's working, keep it right now. But if you're on like a 5-game losing streak, that's a little bit more understandable, because you're trying to figure things out.
If you're winning and losing, it's just kind of in between. It's been close games. Keep it. Keep it. Let them build that chemistry. You're going to lose a few games. You can't start the season, put guys together, and expect them to win every game. It's not going to happen. You're going to have games. You're going to have little droughts. Things are going to happen, but you got to let them build their chemistry, because eventually it's going to come together. But every time you change it, it kind of starts them over a little bit again. It's like, okay, well,
you're restarting pretty much.
Yeah, but yeah, so just stop. Just stop juggling lines, man.
You're gonna lose your job over it. I mean, granted, your job's already gone in the off season, but
yeah, your fate may be already sealed. But I mean, at least go out with a bang. Do it right. Which I'll tell you though, you never know, man. If we were to make the playoffs, you might still have him for another couple more years.
I don't want him. I think you gotta, regardless of if you make playoffs. This is my mindset. If you had made playoffs last year, I could argue maybe him staying, but at the same time, I wanted him gone, in the sense of you get a guy that knows how to win a little bit more, and then you're set. Go get a coach that's on the market that has playoff experience and plays a system that you think is beneficial for the players.
Yeah. I mean, on top of that, you still also have to trade, and your free agency has to be much better.
Exactly. Eisman's great with drafting, but his free agencies have been, other than I would say last year's free agency, and I mean and Talbot's been really good. He's been notoriously placeholder guys, not guys that are filling in for until the younger guys come up, and it's just like at some point you gotta look at it and be like, okay, so are we gonna do something, or are you just gonna constantly keep spending money on guys that don't deserve roster spots, like a Sherrod or a Petrie? Kind of please make up your mind in that sense, because as fans, we're sick of the mediocrity when it comes to free agency. Free agency is a time where you go get impactful players. You don't go get the middle of the pack type guys. You go get guys that you can seriously help the team, and I don't think we've really gotten that other than last offseason.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I mean, we'll see as we get closer to the trade deadline, because there's been a few crazy rumors and stuff like that out there. I mean, somebody said that Buffalo and Detroit were going to make, we're thinking about making a trade. I don't know how much.
There's something close. I don't know. And kind of on that topic, I know it's not a topic on the show, but Buffalo right now, Dylan Cousins is on the market. Granted, I don't really want him because of his contract. He's a good player. Don't get me wrong.
Byron.
There's two guys on that team I really want: Alex Tuck and Bowen Byram. Byram can fill in that second line defense. You get Axel the Pelika next year, which I believe he will make the team. That he fills in that second line. That's a good pairing between a guy that can kind of transition between offense and defense, and your power play quarterback pretty much in Pelika. So that fills out your second pairing. You already got your first pairing. And I think at some point they'll probably juggle Sider and Pelika, or Edvinson and Pelika. They'll kind of rotate the three, but that's a good thing because they're really great players, so they should adapt to each other pretty well. But I'm most likely they're gonna keep Edvinson and Sider together, because that's the two faces of franchise defensemen.
And see, with defensemen are different when you're doing lineups, because defensemen, you can switch a left and a right defenseman from top two lines, and they're okay. They can, because they're different on the ice than like forwards are.
Exactly.
It's a little different, and so you can plug and place defensemen, but talent is talent. Like across the board, like if guys like you get a guy that's just a placeholder, they're truly a placeholder.
Exactly. Like with Byron too, he's come. I mean, obviously he's in a contract year. He's due a contract, but he's a young guy. He kind of fits the timeline. He was drafted, I think, 4th overall in one of the, I think, in the 2019 draft for a reason. And he's a pretty solid defenseman. Granted, he's had some injuries here and there, but he's a solid guy when he's put in the right situation. Alex Tuch, man, a really underrated forward for Buffalo.
I used to play, came out with Vegas. I remember him.
Came out with Vegas, the misfit, man. He's made a name for himself. I know, obviously, he loves Buffalo. He grew up a Buffalo fan. He grew up in that area, Bills Mafia, all that. But he's a guy, look at leadership wise. I think he's a guy that could be a good locker room guy for a lot of these younger guys, just because he's been around the block. He knows what it kind of takes to win a little bit. Granted, the Sabres haven't done a lot of that, but he's a good first line guy that you could bring in and potentially, help bolster the lineup in the sense of you need guys to step up, and he's a guy in good moments where he'll step up for you, and he creates a lot of impact. Like I said too, he's a big locker room guy. I feel like from what I get from him, especially when he came to Buffalo, he wanted to be a good locker room guy, and I think you got that sense right away, and the impact he made right away for the Sabres. So I'm hoping if Yzerman were to make a trade and it was with Buffalo, you're probably sending someone the other way, maybe like a Joe Veleno to give him a second chance, or Ville Husso, who's on an expiring contract. I don't think they'd want to take one of our bigger contracts and like an Andrew Kopp or a JT Compher.
Are you talking for
any of them? Just like a hypothetical trade. They're not going to want one of our bigger contracts. They're going to want someone that can be there a little bit longer term, but also someone who can impact the roster now.
I think if you said Veleno for Tuch, you're going to have to give up a pick, maybe a late.
Yeah, like a second, or if we were to technically, let's say we gave up a kind of like a top guy and got a first or something like that, we'd probably use that first.
Or what the Lions do, which I think would be a good thing for Yzerman to adopt, is you get a pick back with a pick. So like Tuch comes to us for like a 4th, but we give them Veleno and maybe a second. That way we're getting a pick back. We're not
losing anything, like a future consideration. Wallman.
Exactly. But you're getting a pick back. It's not as high as the other one, but you're still getting a pick back.
Exactly.
For it, and they're getting an upgraded pick basically plus Veleno. But
that's a guy I'd really want. Like, he's on a reasonable deal too. He's not just a guy that's making $8 million a year. He's on a relatively bargain of a contract too. So I mean, if you're trying to save a little bit of money on a guy like that, he's definitely a guy that's on the market right now. So
cool. Yeah. What up, Ken? How you doing? But yeah, we can move on to our next topic here. Talking about can our season be salvaged?
All right. It's a little bit of a odd topic talking about it right now, considering it is only, it is kind of later in the season, but with how, and I kind of mentioned it before, with how weak the East is, there is a chance. Like, I mean, a chance in hell. If you can win a lot of games between now, maybe March or February, you could easily be in the hunt for a wild card spot. Granted, I don't think it happens with this roster, but there's a good chance.
Yeah.
Which, me personally, I would embrace the tank a little bit. Maybe it might suck for a lot of these younger guys and a lot of for the veterans, but if you can get a top pick in this draft, they're the face of the franchise type guy. They're gonna immediately have an impact on your franchise. So,
yeah, I mean, the trade deadline's a way off, but
yeah, we're way off. There's still a lot of time. I think what Yzerman's gonna do is if we're in the hunt, he's going to be very conservative. If we're really out of it, he's going to sell as much as he can. And then next year, it's going to be all the younger guys coming up. So you're going to see a lot of.
He's got to play Admiral Fleece and try to get as much as he possibly
can. He has to play like Mantha type.
Yeah.
He has like pull off a Mantha type trade. I haven't seen one of those in forever out of him. Last year was just Koskin to San Jose because it didn't work out.
Yeah.
But
yeah, he needs a good one like that. It'd be nice to see a nice little fleece like that. But
the Iser fleece.
Iser fleece.
I haven't seen it in a while.
I guess you can copyright that one. The Iser fleece. Anyways, okay. Another topic, we were discussing prospects in people earlier, so we can talk about the NHL draft. It's way too early, NHL draft, but types of players we like is Mesa or McQueen.
Misa.
Misa? Is it Misa? Okay.
So
Misa's good. Kind of like Jar Jar Binks from Star Wars.
Oh, God.
So anyway.
All right. But anyway, I bring up this topic in the sense of these are two guys. If you were to tank right now, these are guys you want in this draft right now. Michael Misa plays for the Saginaw Spirit right now, is lighting it up in that league right now. He's projected top 5, top 3. It could all change from now. He's not playing in the World Juniors because Canada's with that, but he's a guy, if you can get him, he's the face of the franchise. Granted, I don't know if he comes out right now, just because I've heard rumors of him trying to go to Boston University, but I think that all depends on where he gets drafted per se. Like if he's drafted in the right situation, he's going to go play for an NHL team. Don't get me wrong. But if there's a team like Buffalo that drafts him, he's going to go to college and try and wait it out as long as he can, because he doesn't want to go play in a shit franchise very much. But Roger McQueen too, he's been lighting up. Granted, he's out for he's injured right now, but he's been lighting it up. He's a really solid guy. Another guy in kind of projecting that top 10 range. So if the Wings are in that more in the bottom top 10, that's a guy I'd really want to go over. But if you can get top 3, top 5, and Misa's there, you got to draft that kid because he is a game changer for any franchise that picks him up.
Yeah, I looked up Misa in terms of like points. That dude is phenomenal.
Yeah.
But McQueen he's only played like 8 games.
Yeah, but he's injured too. So, but the way he plays,
I like his size.
His size. It helps so much, and it's something that I think the Wings need size. A lot of their guys really small, don't like hitting. McQueen can add a little bit more physicality to his size. Misa, he's a little bit smaller of a guy, but man, he has a shot like hell, and he's a guy that a franchise player. And
I'm not going to compare him to this guy wholeheartedly, but I think if he puts on McQueen puts on a little bit more weight, you're looking at Lemieux, like size
wise. Yeah.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not comparing him at all to that, but I'm just saying size wise and build, you got that just that big physical center that you could use for years.
Exactly. And they've been bulking up on centers too for the Wings. Somehow they like drafting guys like a Danielson or a Casper that are centers, but I mean, you could easily transition them to the wing at some point too. But
yeah, that's definitely
obviously with them, like those are the two guys. I feel like if you were to embrace the tank and do everything you can to get a top 5, top 10 draft pick, those are the two guys you want to go for 110% hands down.
If we can, even if we could do well in the draft, because Wings, we can't even do the draft right.
We can draft right. It's free agency that we fuck up pretty much.
No, I mean in terms of the lottery. That's what I said.
Oh yeah, because
we can't.
Somehow this would be the year that we get a top 3 pick, even though we're top 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that, because it's like, oh, Chicago's a bad team, but they technically can't get in the top 5 or something like that because they've had like a top 2 pick.
Yeah, exactly.
Something like that. I mean, looking at it right now, Nashville's like the worst team in the league right now, so they're probably getting first overall. But I mean,
yeah, well, we'll see.
Yeah. Hey, if you're trying to sell a Steven Stamkos or a Jonathan Marchessault, we'll gladly take him off your hands if you're trying to
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Absolutely. I'll take Stamkos. Yeah.
I will take Stamkos. I
Yeah.
will agree with that.
I don't know if Chris Illich will though, but because he already didn't the first time. So, well, we don't know. He never called back. So, okay, and so we'll move on to our next 5 games that we have. I mean, I didn't check to see if they're. I mean, obviously they're not all road games, but so we got home and home with the Canadians, Blues, Toronto, and then the Caps in the next 5 games. Pretty good teams. Like you said earlier, the Canadians. I mean, you said that what's it called?
Patrick Laine.
Yeah, Laine has got a resurgence there. That's cool. That's cool for them. I mean, every single game here, with the exception maybe Toronto, even though we played well against them, are winnable.
Capitals are a little bit. They've kind of slumped a little bit, but it could be a game that you possibly win, especially with last year, where it's like, hey, you guys screwed us last year trying to get playoffs. Fuck you. We're killing you guys. But they've been really solid without Ovechkin too. The Blues got Montgomery, so their coaching's been a lot better situation. But
yeah, I think because I think Ovechkin's coming back because he had a broken leg, correct?
He's a beast, man. Like the fact that he broke his leg and like not even 2 weeks later he's already skating. Like, I mean, not rushing gas. At that point, dude's the Terminator at this point. Like, just goes in, gets another leg or something like that, and boom, he's on the ice. Like, dude's a freaking beast. And I really hope
like changing a blade out, you know?
Yeah, like, almost like that. But Montreal, it's probably going to be a split. I think you can easily win it at home. I think it's going to be a little bit harder to win in Montreal just because, it's Montreal. Capital of hockey. I think you're going to most likely split it. Blues, 50-50. But you could easily win that game just because how that team is structured right now. They got Cam Fowler from the Ducks. He's a little bit older, but effective. Toronto, obviously, powerhouse team right now. Probably in there for the Stanley Cup favorites right now.
70-30 with a 30% chance of winning, like something like that.
Yeah, so there's I mean,
we beat them at home, so but
yeah, it all depends. Like, it's back at home, so anything can happen. But yeah, if you can win these games going into the break, man, like you got a pretty good lead on the wild card a little bit. You're still in the mix, so you're not necessarily out of it. But
yeah, that's true. I mean, it'd be nice to. And I was talking to somebody else earlier. It'd be it was Bandit. I was talking to him and he was talking about like hockey and he said, oh, well, there's a lot of season ahead. And it's like, it's different for hockey than it is for baseball and football and basketball. It's different because teams get in grooves and they get on little streaks and stuff like that. Just a little different. Like baseball, I guess it's a game. Baseball, like you get going and then you can continue. There's just little idiosyncrasies that are different in hockey than they are the other sports.
Exactly.
And you gotta get going. Like if you play mid hockey the whole season, that's the team you are. You got to get on streaks at certain times. You can't, and we haven't even had a streak of anything. We've been mid. We've just been here and there. So we need to, I mean, it'd be nice to get through the 2 Canadian games in the Blues with a 5-game win streak. That'd be nice.
It would be because, like I said, if you're only 4 points out, you could easily get above 500 again and be in that mix a little bit, especially with how the East is. Rangers taking a tank right now, not looking like a great team. Islanders kind of in that mid territory.
Yep.
Obviously, teams like Columbus and Montreal aren't really doing nothing. Pittsburgh's in the mix, so you got some competition. The Senators too. Obviously, they're a pretty decent team. I hate saying that, but yeah, that you could easily be competing for a wild card, especially if Ottawa gets on their late season losing streaks. So
yeah, and I mean, if any year of the years that we could get in on a meh season, it would be this year.
Exactly, especially with how the division is too. Like that's what I'm prefacing is the East is so weak right now that you have a shot. You're still somewhat in the mix.
Absolutely, absolutely. So our final topic for today, and we kind of want to get off on this on the right foot, but the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Sebastian Cosa. You can talk because you love to talk about him.
All righty. So Cosa, man, when he played one game, how do I explain? He played more than I thought he would, in the sense of I thought he was going to play 0 games. He's just a backup for this game.
Mm-hmm.
He actually played, and he played phenomenal doing it. Granted, the team kind of put him in a little bit of a hole, but he was the factor that won us that game in Buffalo, 110%. And granted, a little bit of oopsies here and there, but he held his own with a bad defense. Dude is an absolute stud, and he's proven everyone wrong right now with how he's playing, how his stats back it up. He's great in the AHL right now. Dude, this is definitely, I mean, next year, no doubt in my mind, he's going to have a roster spot, 110% with especially with how the roster is. Like, I mean, you're probably going to lose. Husso's not coming back. Lyon, hate to say it, love him, but he's going to get the bag somewhere else. Some organization's going to look at him and say, hey, really good goalie. We'll give you a little bit. We'll give you term and money. Cosa with Talbot, that's a great tandem. That's a great 1-2.
Yep.
And that eases Cosa into a starting role. It's a 1A, 1B situation. You flip-flop games with them. Talbot's really great. And if he goes down, you can easily pull up someone from the AHL. But Cosa is he's really solid goalie. And like I said, granted, he had a couple moments there. You know, that's what happens when you get put in cold. But if you're starting him, he's on his game. So with him right now, he's easily one of our future goalies, along with Trey Augustine. Like it shows how well Yzerman is drafted. Like I said, free agency has been dog shit, other than last year. But the way he drafts is long term. They might take a little bit, but they're going to be ready and they're going to help us win. Yeah.
Yep. I'm waiting to see what Trey Augustine turns into. Because if we can have him and Cosa as 1-2 punches for future, I mean that could be really good.
Yeah. What I think will happen, honestly, is looking at it. Talbot has one more year after this year. Augustine's doing really well right now at State. What's probably going to happen is after this year, he's going to transition to the AHL. Obviously, that gives him room for him to adjust to that type of style of game. Helps him down there win, kind of gets a sense of that. When Talbot's contract's up the year after, he's up backing up Cosa.
Yep.
Then you'll see,
Augustine here and there.
But Cosa being that mentor and that guy helping him out.
Yeah.
And then the year after, it's a 1-2 punch, pretty much. Yeah. Augustine might have growing pains, but he's going to be great. But you're still going to see really like that flash of that tandem, almost like Olmark and Swayman, but elevated in the sense of these guys are organization guys. They're going to be here for a long time. They're going to help us win cups, and they will be here when we win cups.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't wait for that. Trey Augustine is the one I'm kind of like he's mystery to me.
Hometown guy, man. He's from my hometown, so he got to root for him.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You got to, but I love watching players develop. I love seeing them start and see them progress. I mean, I'm not a fan of like bringing in free agents and then that's the guy we use. I like to see them grow through our own system. But you can't always do that. You always have to bring in vets, like quality vets, to fill in the roster spots too. But
exactly, which I mean, it's going to happen but you just got to be better in that regard because, like I said, like when it comes to just that, like that's your biggest thing right now is you're trying to attract free agents, and I think this is a destination that it's going to happen here soon, very much so. I feel like this is going to be a destination that players are going to want to come to at some point.
Yeah,
I would like not be right now,
mm-hmm.
but they're on the cup. They're on the cups with something great, man.
Yeah, I can't wait. Like I got to see the era of 25 years of playoff hockey and everybody wanting to come and taking reduced salaries to be on the team, to be able to win a cup. I missed those years. That was fun for me. That was part of my teenage years and in my my young adult years of watching that hockey just play out. It was fun. The Wings were like, for Detroit, the Wings were the heroes, but everybody else didn't like us over time, because that's what happens. Like you start off being like, everybody loves the fact that you're winning, but then once you start winning too much, people now you turn into the villain.
Nobody like Tampa.
Win. Yeah. The Patriots, Dallas way back in the day. You know what I mean? Like it's cool to be that, to go through those progressions. Because that's what happens. Then you fall off, and then everybody calls you like a piece of garbage and trash, and then you have to rebuild again, and it goes through that cycle. You can elongate that as long as you fill vets in and you bring in prospects at the right time. You keep that filled in so that valley between the time that you don't win a cup and you're out of the playoffs, and then you get back there, is shallower. You don't want that deep. You don't want that freaking trench.
Exactly.
Whereas where we were after the 15-16 playoff season, and we dropped off the face of the earth.
Face off the earth, not competitive at all.
Yeah, exactly. We went back to like the 80s Dead Wings when we weren't anything. And
yeah, that's the era that I've had to watch for the last
Yeah, you have. That's true.
I've had to suffer through horrible teams. I've yet to see, like I said last podcast, I haven't seen them won jack anything. Yeah. Not even a playoff series. Like, granted, I was alive for the 08 Cup, but like I wasn't like into hockey like I am now. Like I didn't get to experience it because I was like a kid. I was like a toddler still.
Yeah, no, I got that. In fact, I think I have the 2008 pennant somewhere around here. I do. I think I have it somewhere around here, the 2008 pennant from that year. But yeah, it's for the young people here. I mean, we need playoff hockey back in Detroit.
I need it for my mental, man. I can't be sitting on my couch waiting for the whole off season after we like stink it up. I need playoff hockey, man. There's only so much you can take over time.
But that's the thing. There's nothing like in people. I talk in group chats in football and baseball and basketball spaces. People like, if you're a pure hockey fan, if you don't have to be a purist, but you just have to like hockey. There's nothing like playoff hockey. Like, it is just different.
It's a different atmosphere, man.
It is.
Granted, I feel. I mean, the Lions are pretty damn good right now. So I mean, I'd probably say that's probably one of the better atmospheres to go see a game at. But
yeah, but I mean, it's great. Like I got to go to the first, the first home playoff game, and it was awesome, that atmosphere. But I've also been to playoff hockey too. Like, a traditional playoff hockey game is just as awesome as a playoff football game. Then you talk to Stanley Cup. Like,
exactly.
When you get to the Stanley Cup, I mean, other than maybe the World Cup in soccer, I'm telling you, like, playoff Stanley Cup hockey,
it's one of the best. You can't beat it.
It's just, there's something about it that is just different. It's just a different thing altogether. But yeah, I mean, we're at about an hour. I mean, we've done pretty well. Anything else you want to talk about? I mean,
not really. That's about it, man. We covered everything. I mean, I'm just hoping that they continue to do what they've been doing in the sense of winning. Like, they've looked really great. If you build off of this with the 5 games, man, you're going to the break pretty comfortable and pretty confident. So I think that does really good for your players.
And I'll tell you, even though I don't like to like mix sports, that's what the Tigers went into the All-Star break. They beat like the Dodgers into the
They had
All-Star.
Ohtani, man. I mean, obviously they're
going into the All-Star break. So it gives you fuel to go in to start the second half of the season. If you ended on a good note, it gives you positive reinforcement to start the second.
Exactly. I completely agree.
What day is the what's it called? The Four Nations? When's the All-Star?
That's like when the All-Star break happens usually.
Yeah, I can't remember what the schedule is to see that. I know we're getting close.
We are.
It's always nice to see it. Yeah. We haven't seen the jerseys yet, have we?
We have. They're meh. Sweden probably has the best. Canada and Sweden have the best ones. U.S. is meh.
Okay. I have to. Is that when they showed us the lineups, or was that afterward?
Nope, that was during the lineup stuff.
Okay, so then I have seen them. Yeah.
They're
Sweden does have the best one. I remember now. That's awesome. Well, I do thank the ever-growing 130 viewers that are watching us live during our Christmas Detroit Red Wings talk and just winging it, talking about everything that's going on. Him and his Snoopy hat, my Dalmatians, but yeah, my little ornament over here with my Christmas tree. But yeah, I do. So for those that are watching, we do appreciate you taking your time out of your day, whether we're just noise in the background or you're physically watching. And you can always come on here and comment, and we'll talk, and we'll put your questions up, and we'll answer. If you have a true question or a statement, you can tell us that we're wrong or we're right or whatnot, and we'll have a debate. No biggie. It works for us. That's what we extra stuff to talk about never hurts, and we get different people's perspective because you guys may have a different perspective than we do on a certain team or whatnot. You can even talk about another team if you want to, and we may have a conversation. Keegan's pretty up on a lot of the other teams and the players, so I'm sure he can give you some insight on what he thinks. But yeah, I mean, just if you could go to Detroit Fan Report and like and subscribe. And the reason why we want you to subscribe is because once we hit 500 subscribers, we're going to give away one of the 4 Detroit jerseys, whether it's the Pistons, the Red Wings, the Tigers, or the Lions. We'll be giving one of those away once we hit 500 subscribers. We're getting there. We just need your help, and then it helps us give away more stuff. We also are sponsored by Jersey Mike's as well, and we give away, or I should say, Bandit, basically our chief in charge, you want to say, he will give away he'll be giving away like gift card or like Jersey Mike gift cards or whatnot throughout the week and throughout the shows. So if you could, once again, like and subscribe to Detroit Fan Report. And we do weekly shows. We do on Tuesdays we do the NFL show where we predict the upcoming NFL scores of each game. On Wednesday is LFR. They talk about Detroit football, Detroit Lions football. On Thursday, obviously you're here, so this is what we do on Thursday. We do Detroit Red Wings talk, hockey, different topics every week. We're here at 9 every Thursday. On occasion, we have our moments, but we try to keep it up. On Fridays, we do what is called What Up Doe. That starts at 10, and we do all Detroit sports as an encompassing one. We do have our basic Lions theme, but we talk about all the sports. And then, of course, depending on what day of the week, whether it's Thursday, now Saturday, or Sunday, or even Monday, we do a pregame and a postgame Detroit Lions show, talking about the upcoming team, and or obviously the post game we do whether we won or lost. Hopefully we win. and then it starts off the cycle all over again. But yep, we have weekly shows. Make sure you're tuned in. Once again, whether we're background noise or whether you just want to come in and comment or talk, that would be great. But
said we appreciate you.
Yeah, we absolutely, we love it. And thank you for the now 150 viewers right now. We do love it. We love it. But like and subscribe to Detroit Fan Report. And anything else, Keegan?
That's about it. Go Wings, go.
Go Wings, go. Yep. Tell them where they can find you, man.
All right. You can find me on Instagram and on TikTok at ThatWingsFan97.
And you can find me on X at Crazy Hockey Fan. And you can find me on TikTok at Crazy Hockey Fan 1. And we are out.